My boss stands at the head of the table with a confidence that belongs to someone who's already won before the meeting started. He doesn't ease into it. He doesn't build context. He jumps straight to the conclusion. The department missed targets because I failed to execute. His words land like stones. Everyone stares at the projection screen behind him. My slide deck, my work, my recommendations. Except the dates are wrong. The sequence is scrambled. The language is mine but twisted just enough to prove guilt I don't have. I feel heat flood my face. My hands go cold. I want to speak. My mouth opens. Nothing comes out. I watch instead. I watch who looks down. Who avoids my eyes. Who nods too quickly at his version of truth. Char is in the corner taking notes. Not asking questions. Just writing. The projector hums. When it's finally over, he thanks everyone for their flexibility during change. That's when I understand. This wasn't spontaneous. This was rehearsed. This was calculated. He'd practiced this. He probably practiced it in the mirror. He probably said the words out loud to himself, perfecting the tone, the timing, the way he'd angle his body toward leadership and away from me. And I realized something else. Silence, for now, is safer than truth spoken too early. If I speak now, I'm emotional. I'm defensive. I'm a victim. I'm a woman overreacting in a meeting. But if I wait, if I gather everything, if I let him continue lying, then I become something else entirely. A witness. Evidence. The thing that cannot be argued with or dismissed. The thing that can destroy him, not with words but with facts. That night, I open my laptop in the dark. My apartment is silent except for the keyboard clicking. My hands are steady in a way I don't recognize. I'm not searching for comfort or someone to vent to. I'm searching for proof. I scroll backward through months of emails. Then years. I notice patterns that suddenly matter. My boss replying with short approvals. Looks good. Proceed. Aligned. Just enough words to deny ownership later. Never enough to claim leadership. Check metadata. Version histories. Timestamps on documents. I realize how much of my career exists as a paper trail he assumed no one would ever organize. I start exporting entire conversation threads. I create folders labeled by quarter, by project, by every risk I flagged that he ignored. Each click feels like reclaiming oxygen. I'm not angry yet. I'm methodical, cold, scientific. By midnight, I understand the scale of the lie. He's stolen from at least 3 other people I can identify. Maybe more. I find email chains where he praised their work privately, then presented it publicly as his own thinking. I find instances where he instructed people to remove names from documents before sending them to executives. I find approvals he later denied giving. By 1 in the morning, I understand exactly how it will eventually collapse. Not because I'll make it collapse, but because it's already unstable. He just doesn't know I'm watching it happen. He doesn't know that I'm building a timeline he cannot escape from. At work the next Monday, I change one behavior completely. I stop speaking freely in meetings. Every idea I have goes into writing now. Every follow-up gets summarized and sent via email with a timestamp. My boss fills the silence eagerly, mistaking quiet for submission. He interrupts more. He improvises more. He contradicts himself, forgetting what he approved last week. Keep notes, not emotional notes, structural ones. What he said, when he said it, who was present, what changed later. Colleagues begin forwarding me messages quietly. Didn't you flag this earlier? I don't respond with commentary. I respond with attachments. I respond with receipts. My boss starts CCing executives preemptively, trying to control the narrative before it spreads. He doesn't realize each executive CC widens the witness pool. He doesn't understand that silence isn't weakness. Silence is a net. And he's walking into it with every word he speaks. Silence becomes my strategy. Every unchallenged statement he makes becomes future evidence. Every email he sends becomes a piece of the pattern. Every meeting becomes a moment he can't take back. HR calls it an informal check-in. They use soft language to describe hard consequences, performance improvement, visibility issues, cultural alignment. I sit quietly and nod. I ask clarifying questions. I request everything in writing. That request, asking for documentation, shifts the entire room's energy. My boss smiles too quickly, says it's unnecessary. Standard procedure, HR insists. After the meeting, he pulls me aside. His voice drops. He tells me this is about trust, loyalty, about not embarrassing leadership. He's trying to make me complicit in his lie. I listen without promising anything. Later that day, I receive the written summary. It omits his accusations and reframes everything as communication gaps. I reply with a neutral acknowledgement, and attach 3 emails showing I raised these exact concerns months ago. I ask where they fit into this timeline. Where's the documentation of his response? I ask politely. I ask professionally. No one responds for 2 days. The silence becomes their answer. And I understand what this silence means. They don't have a response because they know I'm right. They're just hoping I'll accept the narrative and move on. I won't. I stop thinking about myself and start studying history. I look at who left the company before me. Quietly. Without confrontation. I review old org charts going back 3 years. A pattern emerges that's almost scientific in its consistency. High-performing employees disappear after major wins that benefit my boss. Their projects survive. Their names don't. Their ideas get absorbed. Their contributions evaporate. I reach out to one former colleague under the pretense of asking for a reference. She hesitates on the call, then says one sentence that changes everything. Keep everything. Document everything. Forever. I don't ask her to elaborate. I don't need to. Already know. Back at my desk the next day, my boss announces a new initiative. One I designed last year and shelved after he rejected it. Now it's his idea. His vision. His leadership. I save the recording of that meeting. I download the Slack conversation where he first introduced it as his concept. The pattern isn't subtle anymore. It's just undocumented. Till now. And now I'm going to document everything. I start sending status updates to a wider audience. I frame it as transparency. Organizational clarity. Each email includes timelines, dependencies, and original approvals. I reference decisions by date and decision maker. My boss responds with praise that feels performative. Great work getting leadership visibility, he writes, not realizing he's just admitted he wasn't the one providing visibility. He begins correcting small details publicly, trying to reassert control. Each correction contradicts a previous written instruction he gave me. I don't argue. I don't get emotional. I just update the document and note the change history. I attach the previous instruction. As per your email from March 3rd, I write. Executives start asking questions. Not accusatory questions. Just curious ones. Can you walk me through the decision timeline on this? Curiosity is dangerous for someone who relies on assumed authority. My boss schedules more meetings now. Fewer agendas. He speaks longer. Explains more. Fills every space with words. Listen. I record mentally. I notice when he overcommits. I notice when he promises outcomes he can't deliver. I write follow-up emails summarizing his commitments and asking for timelines. He stops responding to those threads. Deadline passes. Publicly, it's framed as my responsibility. In the town hall, he mentions execution gaps on the analytics side. He says it carefully, like a surgeon making an incision. Privately, I have 3 written extensions approved by my boss. I have his exact language. Take the extra time you need. Quality over speed. He tells leadership I didn't escalate risks properly. I forward the escalations. Only. Without commentary. Just facts. 3 emails showing I flagged the risk. 3 emails he never responded to. Char asks for a joint meeting. My boss agrees confidently, like he's already won. Like the outcome is predetermined. During the meeting he speaks first, setting the narrative. Then HR asks if I have anything to add. Say yes. I share my screen. I walk through the timeline one email at a time. No accusations. Just sequence. Just dates. Just facts. My boss interrupts twice. HR asks him to let me finish. That's new. That moment matters. The chair adjusts slightly in their seat. The dynamic shifts. The meeting ends without resolution, but something changed. My boss doesn't look at me as he leaves. I know the balance has shifted. Something in the room felt it too. The retaliation is subtle. Fewer meeting invites. Less access. Decisions made without me, then blamed on me. I document it all. Screenshots. Forwards. Every moment I'm excluded. I request access politely. Get silence. I note dates. Create a spreadsheet. Access requested March 15th. No response as of March 22nd. HR sends a message about collaboration concerns. I reply with specific examples of exclusion. What was decided without me? My boss calls me directly for the first time in weeks. His tone is friendly, almost apologetic. He suggests we reset. Start fresh. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. I listen without interrupting. I say I'm open to alignment, but through documented expectations, clear responsibilities, written approval processes. He says I'm making things difficult. Says I'm overthinking this. I don't respond to that. After the call, he sends a vague summary that omits his concessions. I reply with a detailed recap and ask him to confirm accuracy. I ask him to initial each point. He doesn't respond. That non-response becomes another data point. Another piece of the pattern. Another moment I'm building. An internal audit is announced. It's framed as routine. Process improvement. My boss acts unconcerned. He jokes about it in the break room. They're going to look at everything and find we actually run perfectly. He says to someone I know will report it back. I volunteer my documentation immediately and completely. I organize it before they even ask. By project. By decision. By approval. I include a table of contents. The auditor's eyes widen slightly when I hand over the folder. This is thorough, she says. That phrase, thorough, is different than prepared. It means she notices the care. It means she's already starting to wonder why someone at my level has this level of organization. My boss submits his materials late. During interviews I stick to facts. Attachments. No interpretation. No emotion. Just sequence. Just what happened. The auditor asks follow-up questions about decision authority. I reference approvals. I show her the emails. The auditor asks my boss the same questions later. His answers don't match mine. I don't know that yet, but I feel the tension increase in our office. Meetings get shorter. My boss cancels one-on-ones without explanation. He starts delegating through intermediaries. Keep everything. I save every communication. The audit timeline overlaps perfectly with the projects he claimed credit for. That coincidence isn't lost on anyone paying close attention. Leadership circulates a summary memo. It reframes recent issues as systemic problems. My boss presents it as vindication. I read carefully. The language is neutral, but the footnotes cite sources. Several are mine. The memo requests additional documentation. My boss asks me privately to keep things high level. Just the executive summary, he says. I say I'll follow the request exactly as written. He doesn't like that answer. I submit a comprehensive packet. Organized, indexed, cross-referenced. It's impossible to skim. Impossible to misinterpret. It's a wall of facts. Each page is dated. Each decision is sourced. Each email has a timestamp. Executives schedule a review session. My boss is invited. He asks me if I'm trying to embarrass him. His voice is lower. Harder. I tell him I'm trying to be accurate. He laughs, but it sounds thin. Sounds desperate. Accuracy is no longer on his side. And he knows it. That night, I see him leaving the office early. His shoulders are tense. He's carrying a folder. The folder I gave him. Colleagues start being pulled into interviews. Some reach out to me beforehand, nervous. They whisper in the hallway. They're asking about the March project. They want to know about decision approvals. I tell them to tell the truth and check their calendars for accuracy. That's it. Nothing more. No coaching. No stories. Just truth. Afterward, a few thank me quietly. One says she finally felt safe saying what actually happened. Another mentioned she tried to speak up 2 years ago but was shut down. I realize this isn't just about me anymore. My boss's behavior created a trail of small compromises others made to survive. The audit gives them language to describe it. Permission to speak. In meetings, my boss becomes defensive. He corrects minor points aggressively. Leadership notices. The contrast matters. Calm answers versus reactive ones. I don't celebrate. I don't speculate. Keep working. My deliverables are clean, early, and documented. Consistency becomes my character witness. My work speaks louder than my words ever could. Other teams start asking to see my documentation process. They want to learn how to organize information the way I do. My boss sends an email apologizing if communication ever caused confusion. Vague. Strategic. Leadership is CC'd. I read it twice. If communication ever caused confusion, doesn't apologize for anything. Blames confusion. I reply, thanking him, and ask him to confirm 3 specific decisions he previously denied making. I reference dates, project names, deliverables. He doesn't respond. Instead, he schedules a meeting to discuss tone. Char attends. He says my emails feel adversarial. I ask if accuracy is the issue. Char pauses. That pause is important. I've learned to listen to pauses. They mean someone just realized something. I share the unanswered questions. I show the decisions he said he didn't make. I show his approval. I show his exact words. Great direction. Let's proceed with this approach. The meeting shifts. My boss's apology is reframed as incomplete. He grows quiet. For the first time, he looks unsure. Genuinely unsure. The power dynamic changes not with confrontation or anger, but with clarity. An incomplete apology paired with unanswered questions becomes an admission. Leadership requests a deeper review of our flagship project. The one that launched my boss's reputation. The one that made him visible to executives. The one he takes credit for in every interview. I provide original drafts showing my authorship and risk assessments. I provide emails from him saying, "Great thinking." I provide the version histories showing creation dates, modification dates, my contributions clearly marked. My boss provides a polished summary with no history, no version timeline, no proof of origin, just a final document with his name on the cover. The discrepancy is obvious. It's almost laughable how obvious it is. Questions follow immediately. My boss says he doesn't recall the early stages. He says collaboration is blurry. Memory becomes his defense. Documentation becomes mine. The review pauses pending further investigation. My boss cancels a team meeting last minute without explanation. He sends a vague message about focusing on the audit. Rumors start spreading. People whisper about administrative leave, about investigations. I ignore them. Focus on my work. Chur asks if I've experienced retaliation. I answer honestly with dates and examples. I show the calendar invites I've been removed from. I show the decisions made without me. They ask if I want to file a formal complaint. I say I want the facts reviewed. That answer surprises them. Facts are harder to argue with than emotions. Access logs are reviewed. Someone pulled them. Calendar invites are reconstructed. Version histories are compared side by side. My boss's timeline keeps shifting. Details change. Stories evolve. He's saying he was involved in stages he clearly wasn't. He's claiming oversight over decisions made after he approved them. Mine doesn't shift. My timeline is consistent. My records match. Everything aligns perfectly because I was documenting in real time. I wasn't reconstructing later. I was building the case as it happened. Leadership schedules a final review panel. Formal hearing. My boss asks to see my materials beforehand. I decline politely, citing process. He accuses me of bad faith. He sends an email to executives saying I'm being obstructionist. I don't respond to that. I let that email sit in the chain. Let it be part of the record. The night before the panel I sleep well. Not because I'm confident about the outcome, but because I'm done chasing validation. I've told the truth consistently. I've documented everything. The outcome is no longer mine to manage. That detachment is new. It's liberating. It feels like closure approaching, even if I don't know what form it will take. The panel opens with questions about governance and decision-making. There are 3 panelists, one from HR, one from legal, one from executive operations. My boss answers first confidently. He speaks about leadership and vision and how he tried to mentor me. He talks about the importance of creating opportunities for junior staff. He's painting himself as generous, supportive. Then they ask me to walk through a specific decision chain. They want the story of the flagship project from beginning to end. I do it slowly, with exhibits, with emails, with dates. My boss interrupts to correct a date. I show the timestamp. The room goes quiet. He tries again later, reframing his intent. He says he was just steering the direction. I show the written instruction he gave me. Execute this exactly as outlined. This pattern repeats across the hearing. Each interruption hurts him more than silence ever hurt me. The panel members exchange looks. They're communicating with their eyes. The chair asks my boss to let me finish. He nods, but his foot taps. Confidence is slipping. This isn't a debate anymore. It's a record review. And records don't lie. The panel cross-references statements from earlier interviews. They're comparing what my boss said weeks ago to what he's saying now. My boss's answers conflict with what he said before. He said in his interview that he delegated the project. He said he wasn't involved in daily decisions. Now he's saying he was steering the direction. Now he's saying he shaped the approach. Mine align perfectly. Everything I said matches the documents. He claims he delegated authority to me. I show his approval. He claims he raised concerns early. I show my escalation message. Unanswered. The tension isn't dramatic or loud. It's procedural. That's worse for him. Procedure doesn't care about charm or likability. One panelist asks why my boss altered documents after submission. He says it was formatting. Metadata says otherwise. The documents were modified 3 weeks after he submitted them. The word integrity is used. Not accusingly. Clinically. Like a medical diagnosis. I feel a strange calm settle over me. The outcome is no longer abstract. It's converging towards something inevitable. During recess, my boss approaches me. He's nervous now. I can see it in how he walks. He says this has gone too far. He suggests we present a united front. Tell them we disagreed but worked it out. Say it was a misunderstanding. A collaboration that just went differently than expected. I tell him it's too late for that. I don't raise my voice. I don't threaten anything. I simply state that the process will continue. That the facts are what they are. He looks at me like he's seeing me for the first time. Not as a subordinate. Not as someone beneath him. As a witness. As evidence. As the thing that cannot be negotiated with. When the panel resumes, he speaks less. He defers more. He stops interrupting. That change is noted. That shift is visible. The panelists see it. Authority recedes when it's no longer believed. Confidence collapses when the facts are against you. The panel issues preliminary findings within days. They work quickly. They've seen enough. They identify misrepresentation, retaliation, and failure of oversight. They recommend corrective action pending executive review. My boss is placed on administrative leave. Effective immediately. The announcement is brief. Neutral. Professional. No drama. No ceremony. Just acknowledgement. An email goes out to the department. We've made the difficult decision to place boss on administrative leave pending the completion of our investigation. New manager will assume leadership of the team. I'm asked to continue my role uninterrupted. No celebration. No formal apology yet. Just acknowledgement and continuity. Colleagues message me quietly. Some say they're relieved. Some say they're sorry they didn't speak up sooner. I thank them and return to work. The story isn't over yet, but the direction is set. The momentum is clear. Justice doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it just looks like the truth finally being heard. Executives review the panel findings carefully. They take weeks. Legal is involved now. My documentation is requested again, and I provide it without hesitation. They send for digital copies, original files, everything I have. My boss submits a rebuttal. It's emotional. It references pressure and intent and how hard he worked and how unfair this all is. Doesn't address facts. It doesn't provide alternative documentation. The contrast matters. Matters deeply. Executives ask me if I'm willing to stay. If I trust the environment after this. If I think things can be different. I say yes if the environment is corrected. They ask what that looks like. I describe governance, transparency, and clear accountability. Not punishment. Not revenge. Structure. Systems. Rules that protect everyone. I talk about having documented approval processes. About decision trails. About making sure no one can gaslight you into believing something didn't happen when it did. They nod. They understand. This was never about revenge. It was about restoring reality. About making the invisible visible. The decision is announced internally. My boss is terminated for cause. The language is careful, respectful, final. There's no public humiliation. There's no ceremony. They don't parade him out. Leadership addresses the team, emphasizing values and accountability. We've made the decision to part ways with boss. We're committed to building a culture where people are heard and credit is given fairly. I'm not named. I don't need to be. The work speaks. My work speaks. HR meets with me to discuss next steps. We talk about transition. About how I can help with the handover. About what I need from leadership. They apologize for the first time. Officially. We should have acted sooner, they say. I accept it. Not because it fixes everything. Not because it erases what happened. But because it acknowledges truth. Because it recognizes that I was right when everyone else stayed silent. I leave the building that day lighter than I've felt in years. Not happy. Not celebrating. Just lighter. Clearer. Free. That night, I sit in my apartment and I don't document anything. I don't organize files. I don't save emails. I just sit. Cry a little. Not from sadness. From release. From the weight finally lifting. My phone buzzes. Messages from colleagues. Thank you. You were so brave. I'm glad you spoke up. I read them and I realize. This wasn't just about me. This was about all of us who stayed silent. This was about reclaiming our voices. The weeks after are quiet in a new way. There's no drama. No gossip. Just life resuming. New leadership listens more. Actually listens. Processes tighten. Decisions are documented. Credit is assigned publicly. I'm offered a promotion within the month. Senior analyst to project lead. I ask for time before accepting. I want to make sure the change is real. That it isn't just surface-level recovery. That they're not going to hire another version of my boss in 6 months. Colleagues tell me the culture feels different. I notice it too. Meetings have agendas now. Decisions have documented owners. Silence is no longer dangerous. People speak up earlier. Ideas are attributed correctly. The foundation shifted. Not because of anger. But because truth was allowed to surface and settle. I walk past his empty office sometimes. They haven't assigned it to anyone yet. His nameplate is gone. His desk is bare. Feel nothing. No vindication. No anger. Just acknowledgement. This is what happens when you build something on lies. Crumbles. and then someone else has to rebuild it on truth. I reflect on what this cost me: sleep, trust, innocence. I don't regret staying silent strategically. I regret how necessary it was. I regret that speaking early would have cost me everything. I update my resume anyway. Not to leave, but to remind myself I can. Power isn't just position. It's not just a title on an email. Power is options. Power is knowing you can walk away. That matters. It matters more than I expected. I talked to a therapist. She helps me understand the toll this took. The hypervigilance. The constant documentation. The exhaustion of not being believed. The feeling of being crazy for keeping all these records, for documenting everything, for not just accepting the narrative. Healing isn't quick, but it's real. I'm sleeping better. I'm trusting people again. Slowly, carefully, but genuinely. I stop saving every single email. I stop documenting every conversation. I still take notes, but they're just notes now. Not evidence. Not weapons. One day, I realize I haven't checked my documentation folder in a week. Then 2 weeks. Then a month. I'm finally able to stop. The war is over. I won. And now I get to just live my life without constantly preparing for battle. HR closes the case formally. It's been 3 months. They send me a letter summarizing findings. It's factual, complete, honest. After thorough investigation, we found that boss misrepresented project authorship, retaliated against the complainant, and failed to provide adequate oversight. Save it. Not out of fear. Not to weaponize later. But as a reminder of what truth looks like when it's allowed to finish. When it's not interrupted. When it's documented and witnessed. The case is closed. The investigation is complete. But something in me closes too. Chapter. A version of myself that needed to survive in silence. That version did what she had to do. She's earned rest. Externally, my work is recognized. A major industry publication credits me for the flagship project. Pioneering work on scalable analytics infrastructure. They called me by name. Internally, my name is associated with integrity. That matters more. Matters deeply. I don't tell this story often. I don't need to. The lesson stays with me every day. Documentation isn't paranoia. It's self-respect. It's protection. It's power. I accept the promotion. I design new systems to prevent what happened to me from happening to others. Decision logs. Approval trails. Clear ownership. I mentor younger colleagues. I teach them to document. To speak up early when things feel wrong. To trust their instincts. Some of them thank me later. Some tell me I saved their careers. I know I just showed them how to save themselves. Overconfidence looks like armor until it's tested by time. My boss believed volume could replace truth. He believed confidence could override evidence. He believed his position made him untouchable. He was wrong. I believed silence could protect me. I believed staying small would make me invisible. I was wrong too. In the end, records did what arguments never could. They spoke calmly, clearly, without emotion, without need for validation. When they were done, there was nothing left to tear apart. No inconsistency to exploit. No lie to twist. Just truth. And truth, it turns out, is the only armor that actually holds. I learned this the hard way. I learned this by being silent, by documenting, by letting him destroy himself with his own words while I built my case brick by brick, by understanding that revenge isn't about making someone pay. It's about letting them pay themselves through their own actions. And now I know if you're going to fight, fight with evidence. Fight with facts. Fight with documentation. Because in the end, that's the only weapon that truly works. That's the only sword that cannot be dulled or broken or explained away. The truth. Always the truth.